All right, let's start designing this thing. So I've taken measurements of the actual tile, and even though online it said that the tile is 3 by 12, it's actually 2.75 by 11.6. But before we even get onto that, we're going to need to download our fonts. Okay, so the two fonts that are being used right now that you see all over Facebook is Times New Roman for the mom font and a font called Love Glitter. So if we search for Love Glitter, it's this one here at the bottom, and I just went to dafont.com and looked for Love Glitter, and we are going to download this. Okay, now this is only free for personal use, so if you are going to be selling this on Facebook or Etsy or whatever, you will need to buy the commercial license, which I will link down below. So once we've downloaded that, if you double click on this, if you have a MacBook, if you double click on a zip file, it should automatically unzip for you. If you have a Windows computer, it should also be built into your computer, but if for whatever reason you aren't able to unzip a file because your computer doesn't come with it for whatever reason, search for a program called 7-Zip. This is a third-party program, and it is completely free. Okay, so I highly recommend this. It's very small, doesn't take up that much space on your computer or anything like that. I'd go ahead and grab that one. Now, we've got our Love Glitter here, so let's go back here so we can install it. I'm going to use the OTF. This is the open type font. This is the true type font. I like using the OTFs personally. I find most of them are more compatible with installation purposes. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and it should automatically bring it up. Awesome. Now here's a trick if you've never really played in here before. Okay, this is the font book on your MacBook. You can pretty much type in this box. So for example, if I wanted to type my name, I can see what it looks like. So it's kind of fun in that sense, because if you want to preview text and you just want to see what it looks like before you select a font when you're using it, this is a really good way to do that. So let's go back. Where'd it go? Let's go. It's called I Love Glitter. All right, guys, it's under I, not L. All right, I Love Glitter. Now you'll notice here, there are not the swashes. Okay, the swashes are like those little like swirls that you see on the end. And you can find the swashes under this tab here on your font book. And if you scroll down, you'll notice that there's all of these fun little glyphs. Look at all these hearts and stuff that you can add. So feel free to play with that. These look really fun. There's like triple hearts if you want to put triple hearts in the middle instead of a single heart. So take a look at that, or you can always go back to Dafont and just type this in. Okay, this is kind of like your quick key here, but there's tons of fun stuff included in this font that's not even listed here on Dafont. So take a look at that. Now, how you would use something on Dafont, you would just type the letter. So for example, this is the bar here, but if you say you wanted to use that triple heart that you can find in your font book, what you would do is you would select the one you want to use. Let's say I want to use this one, and you would put Command C, which is basically copy, and then you're going to go ahead and paste the font in Cricut Design Space, and all you'd have to do is press Command V. Okay, so let's say we had this. If I press Command V, and I'm going to highlight this and go to I Love Glitter. That'll show up there. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue making our design. Now, before we do anything else, if you just downloaded I Love Glitter, you are going to want to exit out of Cricut Design Space and reopen it, okay? This is key. If you do not do this, the font will not show up, and then you'll have to save your project and do it again anyways. So exit out of Cricut Design Space right now. Just do it. Reopen it back up and check if you have the font. I know I do, so we're going to proceed. And we're going to go and start by creating a guide. So I'm going to select the square here, and the first thing I'm going to do is uncheck this lock button. Okay, this lock button, basically what it does is it makes it a fixed square. So I'm going bigger or smaller, and it's always going to remain a square, but we don't want that. We want a rectangle. So I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm going to change the size to what I'd measured, which was 11.6 by 2.75 for the tile that I have. And let's move that to view. Awesome. I'm going to make this a lighter color so I can see my black text that I want to put on top of it. And I'm going to go ahead and start writing my text. So we want mom, and this is going to be in Times New Roman. So let's go Times New Roman. Awesome. Let's move that on there and resize this. You don't want to go all the way. I've done one all the way, and let's just say that it didn't look as good as I thought it did. It was too close to the edge, and it didn't look very nice. So I'm gonna do a little bit smaller, and let's do 220. I think that'll be pretty good. That'll give us a little bit more room to play with. So I'm using 220 as a size font here. Okay, Times New Roman. And the next one we want to do is the names. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing this just so you can see what this is going to look like. Okay. That's in Times New Roman. And then we're going to go to I Love Glitter. That's the one that everybody is using for the script font. Now, if you are going to be using this for commercial purposes, if you're selling this on Etsy or on Facebook Marketplace, you do need a commercial license, okay? So please, please, please go buy that. You don't want a lawsuit on your hands. And I will link that in the comments below. So here we go. Now, if you want the quick keys, these two brackets here are the two swashes on the end, and this line is a filled in heart in the middle, okay? If you want the empty heart, you can do underscore, and that'll give you the empty heart, but I'm going to do the filled in heart, so I did the bar. Now, when you type a font, or use a font in your Cricut Design Space, it will default the letter space here to 1.2, okay? We don't want that because we want our letters touching. So we are going to make adjustments to this. And I'm going to try, I believe the magic number was -0.5 from when I was playing with it. Yes, so this is perfect. So they're just touching, but not causing problems either. And my swash is giving me a problem here. What's going on there? Not sure why that's not touching. This was fine before. Oh, it's because I'm not using capital letters. That's right. I do want to use capital letters. So I'm going to keep it like that. And before we do anything else, because we don't want to forget this step, it is absolutely critical. You want to weld this, okay? And the reason why you want to weld this is because otherwise it'll cut all the letters out separately. Now, if you're not done designing this because you want to see what the sizes look like, let's say you've got 3 or 4 names you want to add on here and you want to see what it looks like. If you want to do 1 row or 2 rows, then don't do this step until you're just about to make it, okay? But I'm pretty satisfied with the 2 names, so I'm going to go ahead and weld. And I'm going to change this to white because that's what I'm going to be printing. That's what I'm going to be cutting, I mean. And let's drag that on there. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to resize that a little bit. All right. That looks pretty good. This doesn't look centered. I'm going to go ahead and try to center that a little bit. It won't matter because it'll just it'll depend on when you actually cut it out, but just to see for sizing purposes, that looks pretty good. All right. So we've welded, everything looks good to go, so we can go ahead and make it. Now, when you go ahead and make it, you can just make this layer invisible. That way it won't try to cut that layer out, okay? It won't even show up in the pop-up box. So let's go ahead and make it, and I will show you how to put this together. Okay, let's start cutting out our designs. So what I've got here is premium Cricut vinyl. Okay, this is glossy. I've got white and black here. Those are going to be the 2 colors I'm going to be using for this project. I keep them in the boxes so they can stay wound up. And looking at Cricut Design Space, it looks like our white letters are actually only about 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out. Now the great thing about the Cricut vinyl is that it's got a grid on the back, which is awesome for things like this. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3 I think is good. I'm gonna do 4 for safety. I'm gonna do 4 to be safe. Okay. Now, to avoid bubbles, guys, I've learned that whenever you lay any vinyl down, whether it's to place it on a mat or even on your blank, a blank is basically what you're going to be attaching the vinyl to for your final project. You want to start with one corner and just lay it down slowly and kind of press it down as you go to help with the bubbles. So let's cut this. All right, you probably can't really see it on the camera because it's so thin, but it's got a good cut there. It definitely does. So let's take that off. Now when you take things off the mat, you always want to pull the mat away from the material, okay? That stops it from curling. All right, let's cut the other layer. So for this, I'm using the black. It looks like we need about 3 inches to be safe. I'm gonna go ahead and measure that. That's up to here. Awesome. And you can see Mom on there. Okay, now let's weed this off. Actually, I'm going to try to save a little bit here. So I'm going to cut that end off. That's looking pretty good. We've got Mom. We've got to weed this one too. Just pick out the little bits. Awesome. Now we are going to transfer our image to our tile. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Cricut transfer paper here. This is from the dollar store. You can also use this to transfer your paper, and you can also use painter's tape. These are kind of the transfer paper options that a lot of people are using. So I will show you the painter's tape with the white text here, and I will use the transfer tape for Mom so you can see what that looks like. All right. Let's see here. So we need to read here. Okay, now to use transfer tape, you're going to peel off the backing. And you're going to carefully place it on. Your tile here. You can take this off. That side's being a little finicky. There we go. Now, the best way to do this, okay, is typically to lay it down like this, down in the middle, okay? And what I'm gonna do is bring over my ruler because I want this as center as possible. So I've got an 11.5, almost 11.5 block. So we are looking at 10.25. So this is about the midpoint right here. So let's see if I can get my O right in the middle there of that. That looks really good. That looks pretty good, don't you think? Awesome. Now, let's use our painter's tape for the white one. And you can kind of see through that. So I'm going to center the heart right in the middle. And there we have it. I think it looks really, really nice. That's the back there. Some people have put scrapbook tape on the back. You can buy stands at the dollar store, like the picture frame stands, to keep it standing if you are selling this or gifting it. Or people have also put in picture frames at the back that you can glue, so you can actually hang this. I will probably be using it with a stand. And yeah. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. If you have any suggestions on technique or anything, please leave me a comment. I would love to hear what kind of things you've been doing and what kind of projects you guys are working on. I also have an exclusive Facebook group where I share my resources like fonts, font sales, and free SVG files. If you are interested in any of that, head on over to my Facebook community and I'll see you in there. Alright, I will see you guys next time. See you later!